Right. So now we are ready to implement our invite repository. And as we talked about, we just want to make sure that we just add the asynchronous methods in here only, because that's what, you know, Firebase is for. It's pretty much for the asynchronous functions, the data calls. Sometimes we'll have API calls. Um, so this is where we want to put all that stuff inside our data folder. But to make our abstract repository, what we're doing is just defining the operations without specifying any implementation. This abstraction allows us to swap out between Firebase and mock repository easily because we have abstracted it, and all we have is this interface that we really look for. We're just calling the send invite, right? And however that's wired through the test repository or the mock repository, this abstraction allows us to be able to just worry about one name. So, and the method we will call is send invite. What is send invite? Send invite, if we look at the screen over here, if we look at the screen, it's this button right here, right? Send invite is the first asynchronous method we need to make. So thinking about what happens when I press that send invite, we're going to create a method. What's it going to do? For the mock repository, we'll just create a wait. So we'll do a delay of maybe about 3 seconds, which will simulate an email being sent to the user. So they'll probably wait 3 seconds. The screen will load. Then once the email hits their inbox, then we'll say email sent. So we're just trying to simulate that experience of what will happen when the user clicks that button. We would only add that one here because it's asynchronous. The get started one is not asynchronous, it's synchronous. So we don't really have to worry about waiting for anything, right? We don't have to worry about calling anything. That one is pretty instant, but the send invite one is not. So how do we do that, right? We're in invite repository, and we said that we want to make an abstract class called invite repository. So yeah, that autocomplete did a pretty good job right there. And then I'll just close my brackets here. And then inside here, we're going to want to write our send invite method, right? And this method is an asynchronous operation, exactly. It's going to return future. It's going to return future void because we don't return anything in here, so that's why we're gonna make it void. No data come back. No data comes back. It's just to notify that an email has been completed. And how do we write this method? We just write future and then void is the return type, and then method name send invite, and we are done. That's the nice thing about having this abstract class and doing the backends, not too much back and forth between Figma. Next, we're going to go ahead and go into our mock repository. And what we're going to do here is we're going to simulate that method. So this method that we just wrote in invite repository, we need to write it in mock invite repository and actually, write the logic for that method. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create, or first of all, let's import. Yes, let's import invite repository because we need invite repository because we want that method stub. So we'll just right here, this will be import. Then what we want to do is we're going to create the class, right? So our class is called mock invite repository, and very important, this implements the invite repository, which is our interface slash our abstract class. Inside here, we're just going to add a comment talking about what it does. This pretty much just pretends to send an email. And also keep in mind, we'll just add a delay. Maybe add a, we'll say, yeah, let's say it waits 3 seconds, um, to simulate a network call, pretty much. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so how do we do this? Start off by adding a override. Let me see what's going here. Override. Then once we're done, oh, I think it completed. Yeah, so we'll pretty much create our um, call our method, send invite. We're gonna make sure that it's asynchronous. Um, and then we'll use await, and we're pretty much just going to add a delay for the duration of 3 seconds, and that's it. This pretty much just simulates what Firebase would do. Maybe it just takes about 3 seconds for that email to hit the user's inbox, and then once that email hits their inbox, they'll get a notification. And pretty much we're done with this for the data side of things. So we can go ahead and just review what we have. We have our abstract class right here, which just has our method stub, and then we have our implemented delay or a test to simulate a Firebase call, because we want to test it, but we don't want to go through the hooking up Firebase, hooking up emails, and then sending it. We just want to simulate this first before we swap it out with real users and real emails being sent to the user. So next we're going to move on to some fun stuff, which is the provider. So we're done with the data. We're done with the domain. Now we're going to move over to the provider. And in the provider, what we're going to be doing is the provider is going to be reading the domain, and then the domain will read the data if there's anything we need to read from the data. So the provider will be creating that connection for the data and the domain for us. So let's get ready to implement the provider.